month, I have no problem. I can sit any side.
Mr. Speaker, indeed you are right. As
So
I have
kindly
said,
proceed and second this motion.
yes, I'm seconding Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, be patient with me. We came here to guide the country when, leader of the majority, we came here to guide the country when opinion divides the country. So just allow me in 2 minutes to make my point, and then I conclude my seconding. And the point is, since you have correctly interpreted what took place in court, that there were no orders against the composition of the leadership of the Senate, and given that there are designated seats in this House, like the Speaker's chair where you are seated, it is a seat in this House. Just because the standing orders say a senator can sit anywhere, doesn't invite senators to go and sit where the Speaker is seated. So because these seats are designated, let members sit wherever they want. But we as leadership, we sit where we are supposed to sit. We cannot be in a country run by social media, Mr. Speaker. I am very serious. If the courts, let me confirm, if the courts had ruled that the majority in the Senate has become the minority, I would have been the first to move to respect the courts. But because there is no such a matter, let us clear the confusion. Mr. Speaker, I second the motion that the composition be as stated. Thank you very much. Pardon?
I propose Senator Murango. Senator Murango, can you have your seat? Honorable Senators, I propose the question that pursuant to Standing Orders 190 and 199.3, the Senate approves the following senators nominated to serve in the Senate Business Committee for the 4th session. In addition to the Speaker of the Senate, who pursuant to Standing Order 191A shall be the chairperson of the committee, the Senate Majority Leader, the Senate Minority Leader, the Senate Majority Whip, and the Senate Minority Whip. 1. Senator Ali Ibrahim Roba, NGH MP. Senator Fatuma Adanduro, CBS MP. Senator Veronica Maina, MP. Senator Wakili Idale Kiproti Sigei, CBS MP. Senator Mohamed Mwinihaji Faki, CBS MP. Senator Shakil Abdallah Mohamed, MP. And Senator Kristo Kegei Asige, MP. Mungatana Danson, Buya.
Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, can I be protected?
We are in the majority.
Mr. Speaker, higher. May I be protected, Mr. Speaker? Mr. Speaker, may I be protected? Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support this motion very strongly. Mr. Speaker, the list that has been tabled before this House in this motion is made up of very distinguished senators who have served this House with distinction, people who we know from our committees. They are worker bees, people who are able to put in the hours. And we really want to take this opportunity to thank the majority and minority sides for coming up with this list. Mr. Speaker, number 2, the list is diversified. I can see that almost all the regions in this country are represented. And Mr. Speaker, that is a very good sign. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I support this list. But, Mr. Speaker, as the Senate Business Committee takes its seat today afternoon, we want to remind them that we had a midterm retreat in Naivasha. And one of the things that we raised was the prioritization of legislation from this Senate House, Mr. Speaker. We do not want this SBC to behave like the SBC of the previous session, where, Mr. Speaker, they kept on prioritizing business from the National Assembly at the expense of the Senate business, particularly legislation. So, Mr. Speaker, we are asking the new team that is going there, please go and make sure that our members here, they push their bills so that we finish. Because we are now midterm, and there are members here, Mr. Speaker, who have not been able to push a single bill to its conclusion. Mr. Speaker, we want to urge the new team to continue with the spirit of working hard, but also to prioritize what is ours. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Senator Mudhama Agnes Kavidu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I fully support the names that has been given to work in the Senate Business Committee, and I know they will do good work. I encourage them, like Mungatana has said, to prioritize the Senate bills first, because when our bills go to the National Assembly, they are delayed there so much, and so we should also prioritize our bills here before we deal with the National Assembly's bills. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I am sure you are aware that we are using the supplementary order paper which was issued. So if you want to confirm anything, you go to the supplementary order paper. Senator Mazayo.
Asante mstahiki Spika. Mstahiki Spika, cha kwanza nataka nikubaliane na majina yaliyoko hapa ya maseneta ambao wataketi katika ile kamati inayoongoza bunge katika itifaki zake. Bwana Spika, waliochaguliwa hapa ni maseneta ambao wako na ukakamavu wa mambo ya bunge la Senate. Bwana Spika, vile vile tunayo imani ya kwamba hawa waliochaguliwa wataweza kutimiza ile hadhi ambao wamepewa na ndugu zao maseneta. Kitu cha pili, Bwana Spika, nikiendelea kuunga mkono haya majina yaliyoko hapa yote saba, nataka pia kuweza kutangazia ndugu zangu ya kwamba hivi leo ni jambo la kusikitisha, naweza kusimama na nikatangaza kifo kilichotokea cha baba ya seneta wetu, ya spika wetu wa bunge la Senate, ndugu yetu Amazon Jeffa Kingi. Kifo hicho kilitendeka jana wakati wa madaktari wakiendelea kumtibu au kujaribu kuendelea kumpatia matibabu mzee wetu, lakini japokuwa sisi tulimpenda, Mwenyezi Mungu alimpenda zaidi. Kwa hiyo nataka tu kuwajulisha ndugu zangu, tumeweza kuweka katika mitandao, mimi nilikuwa wa kwanza kuweza kuwajulisha maseneta kuambia kifo cha mzee kimetokea, na hayo yote yaliyotendeka ni mambo ya Mwenyezi Mungu. Kwa hiyo tutaendelea kushikana na familia ya spika na ndugu zangu nyote, kama itakuwa kifo kama hichi si kifo cha kawaida, ni kifo kimetokea cha spika wetu ambaye ninajua sote sisi tuko hapa, cha babake spika wetu, ambapo ninajua na imani ya kwamba sote tutajumuika naye. Mimi pengine naweza kutangulia nyumbani, lakini watakaobaki nyuma mtaendelea kuweza kuweka nguvu za Senate hapo mbele. Bwana Spika, mwisho ingekuwa bora zaidi ikiwa utafafanua kwamba katika hii ratiba ambayo tuona sasa sisi. Tunasema tu katika broad based, lakini tukijua kwamba koti iliweza kutoa uamuzi, na uamuzi huo unataka ufafanuzi wa hali ya juu kama alivyosema ndugu yangu Okongo Megedi. Ikiwa unaweza kufafanua zaidi hapo, ili tujue ya kwamba upande ule na upande huu sasa walio wengi ni kina nani ndani ya bunge. Asante sana Bwana Spika.
Senator Roba Magoma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the proposed names to the Senate Business Committee, Mr. Speaker. And my plight to them would be, as Senator Mungatana has requested, that our bills from the Senate are prioritized, and particularly the bills that are a priority to the lives of the people of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. I am pushing for the free sanitary towels bill, Mr. Speaker, and I believe after 2 years of it being in the motion, in the process of Parliament, Mr. Speaker, I hope that this bill would be considered by the Senate Business Committee. Mr. Speaker, I also want to add that in the event that no one is interested in taking up this position of the minority with Mr. Speaker, I am able and I am willing, and I am already sitting here on this chair, Mr. Speaker, so I can assist them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator David Wakoli Wafula.
Nashukuru sana kwa nafasi hii. Nashukuru vile vile Mheshimiwa Spika kuona ndugu zangu ambao wamekuwa kiukwea mlima sasa wameteremka wako katika jumba la Senate, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na Waswahili husema kipandacho hushuka, Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi ni kuwashukuru wa Kenya kwa kutupa nafasi kujumuika nao katika msimu wa Krismasi na mwaka mpya. Tumeshukuru vile vile tumekuwa na kikao kule Naivasha kutathmini ratiba na mipangilio ya jumba la Senate. Cha muhimu Mheshimiwa Spika, wale ambao wameteuliwa kuongoza kikao cha shughuli za bunge watie maanani kwamba Senate ni jumba kuu, jumba la umaarufu wa kutunga sheria, na kwamba mwaka huu Mheshimiwa Spika lazima ibainike wazi mbichi na mbivu. Lazima ibainike wazi majukumu ya Senate kikatiba na kisiasa, na kwamba hatutakuwa na uzembe ambao tuliona mwaka uliopita, lakini tuone ni shati ya pamoja kufanya kazi kwa pamoja. Kikundi hiki Mheshimiwa Spika, naomba viongozi wenzangu waweze kutulia. Wamechangamka kana kwamba wamekula aina fulani ya mmea, Mheshimiwa Spika. Huo mmea unaweza kuwa sukuma wiki. Mheshimiwa Spika, nashukuru na mimi naombea kila laheri wale ambao wameteuliwa, na kwamba sisi pia tunataraji kwamba baadhi ya kamati za bunge zitaweza kushughulikiwa ili ratiba zinazotoka ziweze kuiana na vikosi vya uchapakazi, ili tuweze kuwatendea Wakenya haki na kuhakikishia Wakenya popote walipo kwamba ugatuzi tutaulinda, fedha tutazilinda, uwajibikaji ni lazima, na kwamba matokeo ya ugatuzi lazima Wakenya wafurahie. Na mimi ni kuomba Wakenya popote walipo, iwapo kuna tetesi na changamoto, wasikose kututafuta sisi maseneta, kwa sababu sisi ndio kioo cha jamii. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Geoffrey.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I think I want to start by saying that I fully support this motion, because the members who are listed to be proposed on this committee, there are members who are going to deliver the mandate of the committee, and therefore we should all support them, because without the Senate Business Committee, I think we cannot have our agenda processed for this plenary. But I also want to request that these members on this committee must understand that this is one of the most crucial committees that processes agenda and discusses the calendar of this House. And therefore, they must put in extra effort to ensure that they do the right job. As Senator Mungatana has said, we have a number of pending Senate issues that needs to be dealt with. And I hope that this will be the right committee to initiate the processes which will lead to us resolving those outstanding issues. Mr. Speaker, I also want to urge the Senate Business Committee to also prioritize the many reports which have been generated by the Oversight Committees, PIC and PAC. We have in excess of 100 reports so far. And I was just wondering how these many reports will be processed in this House. I think this is a very, very important issue because we have those reports which touch on matters of accountability in our counties, and action needs to be initiated as soon as possible. So I want to urge this Senate Business Committee that we are approving today, that they also need to ensure that those reports are brought before this Senate for debate and approval, so that actions can be taken by the relevant bodies like EACC and others. Mr. Speaker, that is very important because I think we exist here to protect devolution, and devolution will be very much protected through the reports that have been tabled by CPIC and CPAC. Mr. Speaker, for those short words, I want to support the names proposed for this committee.
Senator Maluma, what is your point of order? I can see your on intervention.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Hoja yangu ya nidhamu ni kwamba wanaotangaza ama wanaopitisha matangazo katika runinga zetu ama Parliamentary Broadcasting Unit wanaandika sajili ya majina ambayo ni tofauti kidogo na ile ambayo iko katika ratiba ya bunge ama order paper, kwa sababu kiangalia pale vile inapita kuna jina kama Agnes Kavindu Mudhama, na katika hii order paper ambayo ni ya leo haina hilo jina. Kwa hivyo nilikuwa nasema tu wawasilishe majina ambayo yako katika order paper ya leo. Asante Mheshimiwa Speaker.
Actually, I announced that we are using the supplementary order paper, which has different names from the original order paper. So maybe our media team should be able to rectify that. Senator Professor Margaret Kamar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. I stand to support the list that has been given for the House Business Committee. I think these are senators who are seasoned, who have leadership in themselves, and we believe that the House will move very smoothly in the coming session. Mr. Speaker, I want to agree with Senator Mungatana that a lot was done in the retreat, and we need to pay attention to some of the decisions that we came up with and some of the very strong suggestions that came in. Mr. Speaker, the Auditor General who came, our wonderful, wonderful lady, Auditor General, gave us a lot of assurance that our CPIC and CPAC are going to be very busy because she had over 1,000 reports to be tabled. And this House Business Committee has to really, as they retreat, to even come up with the members of the different committees. We need to be very clear how we are going to do this. Mr. Speaker, we have been discussing for many years that we should be up to date with our audit reports. If that is going to take place, a suggestion came out very strongly in Mombasa, that in Naivasha, that we ought to expand these committees so that they work as subcommittees. I think that was said by Senator Kajwang. I don't know which side is he sitting. or is in, yes, Senator Kachwang is somewhere now a majority backbencher. And it was very clear that the best approach would be to expand the committee and go into subcommittees. Mr. Speaker, let's break a record as this House in clearing the backlog of the Comptroller General, the Auditor General's reports. And really, let's be bold. Let this House Business Committee be bold and change things from the old system to a system that is going to make us deliver. Mr. Speaker, I also want to encourage them to prioritize some of the motions that come to this House that are very important. There was a motion from the senator from Kiambu, a motion that was going to bring in the idea of free education. This House would have broken a record discussing that motion, but we didn't manage to reach there. We really need to prioritize and give ourselves the motions that are going to bring a change in this country. I did also come up with another motion, which was touching on what the Comptroller of Budget touched, both in Naivasha and in her own reports, that we need to discuss how our governors can be stopped from implementing projects that don't belong to them while they're messing up their own. In our education committee, we were very clear, and we have already invited I think we are on the fifth, we're in the fifth governor, because we are talking to all the governors about how they have digressed from early childhood education to implementing what we call bursaries. And it should be very clear, because what they have done with the national government will not benefit the counties at all. Because if they are saying they are going to put some money from which had not been allocated for bursaries to take care of bursaries, it means some of the functions that have been devolved will suffer. And this is what my motion was trying to do, to stop them unless they go for a negotiation that gives them extra money. Because without extra money, they're actually doing the same thing that they've been doing. We went to Machakos and we visited early childhood facilities. Pathetic. They're in a pathetic situation. We went to Taita Taveta. We went to Kilifi. And Mr. Speaker, the situation is the same. It is still dire. So our governors cannot be telling us that they can give out bursaries because people are needy, while the early childhood program is failing, and while the village polytechnics are dilapidated. So those are some of the, I'm just using those two examples, the motion from Kiambu and my own motion, that required urgent attention. I would like to therefore encourage the next House Business Committee to look at bills and motions as they come in and select those which they think this House can have an impact on. With those remarks, I very strongly support this team of 7. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, you know the motion is about whether we are approving the names of the senators so that they can go and sit and generate business for the Senate. The other matters, and since we started, nobody has rejected even one name. So it's like we're in concurrence. We're in concurrence with the names, you senators. So therefore, I want to give a few others, and then maybe the majority and the minority. You should make concurrence on this business. Now, let me give the Deputy Minority Leader. Deputy Minority Leader. Okay. Let me give the Deputy Minority Whip. Okay. Senator as far as my hemispheres are correct, the Deputy Minority Leader is none other than, he knows him, even he is looking at me very. Senator Enoch Wambua.
Yeah, that's better. Senator Enoch Wambua. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just a slight point of clarification as we support this, this motion. That name that you read was the former deputy minority leader. Now, the person speaking is the deputy minority, deputy majority leader. The label is here. Mr. Speaker, I support the 7 names, and as my colleagues have said, Mr. Speaker, we all expect